The next piece we're going to do is faux sleeves. I want to show you what a faux sleeve shirt looks like.
The faux set-in sleeve looks and fits like a set-in sleeve, but it's worked from the top down. A series of twin stitch short rows are worked to build up or build down the front and back and provide the extra stitches needed to build the sleeve cap. The only drawback to this system is that the yarn has to be broken twice. Given the ease of construction, the fact the sleeve doesn't have to be sewn in, the overall appearance, the fit, breaking the yarn twice is a small price to pay for such a nice outcome.
The green, light blue, and maroon are the sections that are the short rows to shape where the sleeve intersects with the body. Before we can start doing any actual knitting, we have to, of course, do some math. We are going to need our upper arm measurement between C and D. Go to the website, look up where that is, get that measurement done. Mine is 9.75. Next, we need how much ease do you want in your garment. Everybody prefers a different kind of ease. I deliberately do not include any ease above point C because it ends up causing the fit of the shoulder to hang off the shoulder, which is not very attractive. So, starting at C, we deal with ease, and my ease is 2.5. That's what works best for me. The next thing we need is stitches per inch. Mine is 5.25. So we're going to take those and we are going to create a short row count for creating this the setting for our faux set-in sleeve. We're going to take the arm measurement between C and D and we're going to add that to our ease times. Now the reason I'm doing this times a percentage is because we don't want to add this whole 2.5 inches of ease to each sleeve. We want to add a percentage of that because the sleeve is only a portion of the circumference around the body. So this seems to be, of all the stuff I've tested, this seems to be the best percentage. If you feel it's a little too big, reduce this. If you feel it's not quite big enough, make this a little bigger, but that's my general. So we're going to take, once we've done this, we're going to take that and we're going to multiply it times our stitches per inch. So that's our happy math. Once you've done all this, you're going to get a faux set-in sleeve number. Oh, we got one more thing we got to do. Sorry about that. So we take this. This is 10.625. We multiply it times our stitches per inch. We're going to get 55.78125. Don't worry about the big number. It's going to shrink rapidly. We are going to multiply that times a factor, and this is another one of those things like this one that I have played with until I've gotten a sort of a happy, it seems to work for every time for me. Your mileage may vary, but this seems to be the factor that works for this. So that's going to give me 4.75. This is bigger than 4.5, so we can round up. That gives me 5 short row turns for my faux set-in sleeve. This is where we left off. We have our shoulder marker, front fading saddle, back saddle, First thing we're going to do is we're going to put a locking marker in the first back stitch behind the shoulder marker. This is a reserve stitch. We're going to do the same thing on both sides. This is a reserve stitch to keep our short row turn spacing clean. Now that we have our markers in place, I'm going to knit all the way to here. I'm going to slip this marker 1. I am going to do a twinned turn in the first available stitch. This is our reserve stitch, or our first available stitch. I'm going to do a twin stitch. I'm going to knit to the marker, and I'm going to do a saddle increase, and then I'm going to go to the other side and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. Alright, here I am at the first shoulder. We are still operating under our to and from shoulder rules. I am working toward the shoulder. I am going to move the marker 1 stitch. I'm going to knit to the first free stitch. That's this one right here. I'm going to reach back and do my twinned short row turn. Just exactly like we've been doing it all along. That's what I'm going to do. Now I work to the back saddle. Now here's the key. This has to be 5 stitches from the end, but if we put it 5 stitches from the end, it's going to ruin our line. Yeah, maybe, maybe not. Let's pretend it's not going to ruin our line. And we will do our, this is the last short row turn we're going to do. I'm going to pull the marker so I don't play with it anymore. And I'm going to knit to the other side, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. We've got 5 stitches between, we're not going to have 5 stitches when we do the sleeve, but right now we have 5 stitches between our shoulder marker. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's our increase. I'm going to work to the other end, and I'm going to do the same thing. Here we are at the other end. I'm going to stitch to the shoulder marker. I'm going to move the shoulder marker 1 stitch. I'm going to knit to the first available stitch and slip it, and I'm going to reach back and do our standard twin stitch. And work back. Now we still need to have 5 stitches between our shoulder marker. 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to count the twin stitches 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we're going to do our increase in this stitch. This is the last saddle turn we'll be doing. Reach back, work a lifted increase. Okay, now we are going to knit all the way across, and we're going to stop. See how we have a twin stitch right here? We're going to not knit this one. We're going to do, when we get to the other end, we're going to take this stitch, which is 1 away from the last one we did, and we're going to work it. So I'll be back in just a minute. I have stopped 2 stitches from the last twinned short row turn. I'm going to slip the second of those stitches and do a twin stitch short row turn. I'm going to repeat this sequence, stopping 2 stitches before the last and working a twin short row turn until I have 5 short row turns at each end of my back. When I get to that point, I will come back and show you what to do next. I have just completed my 5th two-end short row turn. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, each of these has a stitch between them. So this is the very last thing we do. Now I haven't done the 5th one on the other side of the back yet because there's something I have to do before I knit that direction. I do a forward lifted increase and knit the stitch and place my back sleeve marker. Doing this particular stitch right here, this lifted increase, forward lifted increase, improves the look of the shoulder sleeve join. It looks so much better with this here because we will be increasing the sleeve every other row until the sleeve stitch count matches our 55 stitches that we calculated. So that's why this is so important. It can't be done on the next row. It has to be done right after this increase is done. I will knit across the other side and I'll go through it one more time. I'm at the other back shoulder. I am at the point where I'm going to slip this stitch and do my 5th increase. 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be the 5th. Slip it, lift, yarn from the back over the top, slip it back, and this is the point where you need to do exactly the same thing you did on the other side. We're going to do a forward lifted increase. This is the purl bump. I'm picking up the purl bump and I'm going to, whoops, it's not working so well. Pick up the purl bump and I'm going to knit it, then knit the stitch. That gives me a lifted increase and the knit stitch, and I'm going to put my shoulder marker on. Now here's the point where the yarn needs to be cut. It's a lousy place to do it. The one thing you can do to help anchor it is to do a twinned stitch here, just a normal one that matches the one that's already there, and then knit this as a complete stitch. That'll help lock your end, but this is where the yarn needs to be cut. When I come back, we'll start working on the front. I have slipped all of the stitches to the shoulder marker. We're at the point in the operation where we can abandon our shoulder marker. The first thing I need to do is join my yarn, and the way I'm going to join my yarn is by doing the twinned stitch here that needs to be done for the front. That means we're only slipping this many stitches. So I'm going to do the slipped. Now I need to have the yarn or the stitch on the needle leading leg and back. Okay, so this is where I'm going to put it. I'm going to knit into this. There's that. I'm going to slip it. Now I have the opportunity to work this end in as I go, and I'm going to take that opportunity. This is the point where we do this saddle increase. I'm going to lift and work the saddle increase. That's the last time I'm going to wrap my yarn to get rid of the end. So I have worked the twinned turn next to our reserve stitch, and I'm working back. I've done the front saddle, fading saddle increase. I'm going to work to the front, and this is exactly the way we've been doing it all along. I'm going to knit to the purl, the first purl stitch on the ribbing. I'm going to do a backward lifted increase. I'm going to work the ribbing, and then I'll come back. I'm back at the front fading saddle marker. Now normally, because the shoulder to and from directions apply, we would move this too, but this is the stitch we're going to be doing our next short row turn in. So just pull the marker and work a short row turn right here. Slip it, lift, wrap it the right way, and that's done. Now I'm going to repeat this until we're back to having 5 short row turns on the needle, and I'll show you what to do. I am back to the point where I need to do my last short row turn. I've got 4 of them here. This will be the 5th. I do that short row turn, slip it. Now just exactly like I did on the back, I'm going to lift this purl bump, and I'm going to do an increase in that purl bump. And I'm going to knit this stitch and set my marker, and this front is done. All we have left is the last front. This is where the yarn gets cut, right here. As with the back, easy answer is to do a twinned stitch and then knit this stitch here as one unit. You can see we have one more set of short row turns to work. This is what it looks like when the short row turns, the short rows have been worked for the faux set-in sleeve.